Yes, and my name is Navin, and I would be the presenter for this session, on this day, and I would also be the trainer for the future courses on Python programming. I would like to thank you first for joining this session today on a weekend and taking time out of your personal time. So I also would like to tell you like how we are going to drive this session. So first thing is I will introduce about myself and my background, and we'll go into the topics what I would be covering. Unfortunately, I have I'm on a travel plan. I'm on my native place in India, and there is some issue with the network, so I am not able to get a bridged IP address from the network provider. So because of that, there are some challenges in providing some real-time situations because that demo completely needs a bridged IP. Okay, but what I'm going to travel back again on Monday to Bangalore, so later on it would be fine. Like I won't have any such challenges. So, but whatever the content that we are going to take you through during the training sessions, I'm going to give you a theoretical demo and explain you the benefits and also how in real time people are using Python programming in various aspects. What are the advantages? What are the opportunities for you, from your career perspective? What are the benefits if you're already doing some job, and what are the benefits by learning this course? Okay, so many people will have different challenges. Some would always be already be using Python, and some are starting their journey in learning Python programming. So there will be a lot of cases with such requirements. So for every one of you, I would be guiding you through the benefits and also the advantages what this training will give you. Okay, so let's begin. Before that, so during the entire demonstration, right? So you can think of what you would like to ask, and once I finish my demonstration, I will give enough time for you to put all your questions. You can put your questions on the question panel, and also if you would like to have a one-on-one conversation with me during this demo, you can lift your hand. After my demonstration is over, I will unmute each one of you in a sequence, and you will get a chance to ask me any question that you would like to ask, and I will answer that. Okay, and any kind of topics that you would like to see in the training, you can ask me on that also, and also ask me anything. Okay, so that's purely up to you. It's a open discussion, and I would really encourage you to come forward with your questions. Okay, so before that, I'll start my part of the presentation. So just it won't be taking too much. I will be right through on the core of the topics, and I'll take you through the journey, and we will be doing a lot of discussions at the end. Okay, so about myself, and so this is a kind of old PPT about myself. There has been a lot of changes. So I started my journey from a Unix with a Unix background in platforms, and I've worked on many operating systems, including Solaris, AX, Red Hat, and I do have a DevOps profile. And on top of that, I also do a lot of coding part for automating and also doing some of the development part. Now, this is about myself, and I have around close to 12 years of experience in real time in IT, and I'm still working. And the teaching is a part-time hobby. Like that gives me a scope to interact with a lot of other domain people and a lot of different experienced people, and that helps me to grow myself. And at the same time, teaching is something which I really like. So that is why I'm doing it during my non-working hours and during my off days. Okay, and this is some technical background of me, and I have certifications on MySQL database, and Puppet, AWS, and really good in Python programming. So this is my background, and we'll move forward. So what is Python programming language? Why I think you should be knowing this. Why we are actually sitting in this webinar and trying to understand what is the benefit of you going to spend some time of your life on learning Python programming language. So to answer that, Python programming language, many people have concerns that it is a scripting language or blah blah blah. Now to answer that, Python is both a scripting language and an object-oriented programming language like Java, and it has all the qualities of what Java comes with. Java is written in C++, Python is written in C++. Java is a third level language, Python is a third level language, and it can also be used as a scripting language, and it's a very powerful tool. Like, the reason why I'm saying it's powerful is if you want to accomplish a task or create a, let's say, MapReduce job in your Hadoop framework, in order to create a MapReduce job, you are writing 100 lines of code in Java. The same can be done in 20-25 lines of code in Python. It is that simple because it has that rich libraries. I'm not saying Java doesn't have, but Python is not syntax oriented. It is not having strong syntax as Java. So that gives you a feel of easiness to write down the code, and you can write the same code in lesser lines. So that is the power of Python programming, and that is why many people are starting using it. So when Hadoop came in, it's written like Cloudera Hadoop or Hortonworks Hadoop, so it's written in Java platform. So many people preferred people to write MapReduce jobs using Java programming language, but as a code, analytics part is becoming more and more. People have to write faster code to get results faster, and they want to do it in a lesser line. So the Java is making them to write long lines of code. That's where Python is coming into play, is playing a role there also. Okay, you can write a job with very less code, and compared to Java, it's like 1/3 of what you can write in Java. Okay, who uses it? So Python is heavily used in wide varieties of businesses, in web development, in data analytics, in big data, in data mining, regular expressions, pattern matching, data visualization, data scientists, and also in your Raspberry Pi for your IoT projects also. And data scientists, the first prerequisite for any data scientist is to have hands-on on Python programming language and then on R. So that is a prerequisite. So first is Python programming language. When it comes to playing with data, Python gives you a rich set of options to play with data compared with any other programming language, and that is the reason why it's more famous with data scientists as well. Okay, and at the same time, if you are interested in IoT projects, then kind of Raspberry Pi board, writing code for this on your Raspberry Pi boards, then really Python will be a handy programming language there also. Learning curve is pretty easy because, as I said, Python is not heavily syntax oriented. Like Java, if you define a variable in Java, which is an integer, you have to define it saying int a or int c. But in Python, you don't have to define the data types. You can directly say a is equal to 10. The next line you can say a is equal to some string value. So Python automatically understands what type of data you are adding to that variable. So it's pretty easy and pretty simple. Okay, and that is the reason why many people or many universities in US and India, they started promoting Python programming language as a beginner's course for during the graduations. Okay, it is happening. It has already happened, and many people are following it, the trend. Why is it in demand? So the primary reason is you don't have to install. All the Linux distributions comes pre-built with Python libraries. On Red Hat flavors, on 2.7 is standard, but right now it's set in 3.5 is already there in the python.org website, and you can go and download it and install and play. So I will also just talk about differences between 2.7 and 3.5, why you should use any of these versions and in which scenarios you should choose that version. Really, there's not much difference. If you are a good programmer on 2.7, really writing code in 3.5 is not that going to be challenged. But if you learn 3.5, it will become a challenge to work on 2.7 code because there is a lot of things that you would miss on 2.7. Okay, who can learn? Should you have any kind of prerequisites? The answer is no. Anyone who have analytic skills, knowledge, who can think and solve problems, they can learn Python programming easily. So that is a prerequisite and nothing else. You don't have to know bash scripting, you don't have to know C programming language. Yeah, if you know, that would help. But to learn Python programming, those are not the prerequisites. Having good analytical skills is the prerequisites. Okay, and syntax wise it is very easy, and I will you will find it really easy to write on Python code. So to begin with, and I can show you a lot of demonstrations, but because of that problem I am not able to launch any of my code that can be in a presentable format. You will get small screens. I don't think you will actually be able to see it comfortably. Okay, so the course content is that follows like this. We'll discuss about the introduction, about the history of Python evolution, who invented it, what was the necessity, what drove him, what is the current stage of Python programming, which companies are using, you name it, any company, the top 10, everyone is using Python programming, and they're already using it. So there are, you can say that, Naveen, there are a lot of other languages, like Go language has been developed by Google, and Ruby has come, it has also picking up its fame. Java is already there in the market, C++. So we'll talk about all the strengths, benefits of each of the programming language and how Python is faring comparatively, when you compare with those languages. And then we'll go with the installations on your Linux and Windows distributions. Linux, I said it comes pre-built, so you can ask me now, how can I teach installation on Linux when Python is already there? So the challenge is, you have 2.7 that comes. Now how do you install 3.4? How do you maintain multiple versions? You can maintain multiple versions of Python code, and you can run any number of versions on the same machine. So that is the concept which you will learn as part of this. And also starting with your standard input-output functions, how to write a standard input-output function, what are the input-output functions. So we'll discuss all that. Strings, string operations, collections means your lists, tuples, dictionaries. If you have C programming background, it talks about arrays kind of thing, and dictionaries is another data structure that is present in Python programming. And if you have someone from Ruby, then it is hashes. Python functions, that's a normal typical function, but we are not going to stop there. We are going to go very really deep, and we will understand a lot of concepts, including writing code using your iterators, generators, constructors. What are they? Okay, so you can ask me, so what are they? So if I ask you a question, what is the third Fibonacci number? You can say it's very easy, 0, 1, 1. So the third one is 1. But if I say what is the 1 millionth Fibonacci sequence, then you need to pick up your calculator, and you have to do a lot of you have to spend a lot of time. So in the same way, when you're writing a piece of code, if your input is easy, say if I ask someone to write a code that should tell me the third Fibonacci sequence number or fifth Fibonacci sequence number, you can write it very easily. But if I say pull down the 1 millionth Fibonacci sequence element, now that is a big input. You have to do a lot of operations, and with big numbers, and that big numbers has to be stored in your memory. That puts tremendous load on your memory. So how do we overcome such scenarios is what we will learn in Python functions. How do we write an optimized code that really doesn't care what level of input you are giving? The logic should work the same, and you shouldn't put more burden on your system. Okay, so that is where your Python functions will come. And then we'll move into Python classes, understand the OOPS concepts, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, classes, objects concepts, what is the difference between a method and an object. All those topics will come in. And then we'll talk about different default modules that you should learn. OS, system, random, get pass, date, time module. Some of the frequently used for various purposes, generic modules. And then we'll move towards processing file IO operations, Excel sheet operations. How do we write multi-threading? Okay, that is a core concept, but we are going to make an extension. So multi-threading is a concept where if you run a Python code, that will run as a process, but at the same time it will launch multiple threads. That means at any given point of time, a single thread can only execute. Now you are launching multiple threads. So at any given point of time, if one thread is waiting for an IO, the other thread will run on your CPU. Okay, that is not a big fun. But here is the concept. You can launch multiple threads, but that forms the same process. But how about launching multiple processes from the same code and have them launch multiple threads? So you can write a code that can spawn 10 processes, and each process can again launch multiple threads And these 10 processes will, if your system have 10 processors, each process that gets launched from your main code can sit and run on each of the processor, and that is what parallelization means. Multiprocessing is a concept that evolved from the bottleneck that is present in the multi-threading option. Multi-threading cannot launch multiple processes, but your multiprocessing can launch multiple processes. So that is a concept. Don't take it easy. We can talk 1 month about multiprocessing module, so it's that big and it has that big concept. Okay, so we are going to talk about multiprocessing, and we are going to see differences between multiprocessing and multi-threading, how it will help you to write optimized code, how it will help you to write a code that spawns automatically depending on the requirement, and it extracts the data fast. So here is the story. So you're writing a code where it has to log into, say, 1,000 EC2 instances, Amazon EC2 instances, and get some data. Now, if you write a serialized code, it will have to log in one EC2 instance at a time and then extract the data. So if it takes 5 seconds for doing that part, then 1,000 servers means 1,000 into 5 seconds. It's a big time. But when you go for multiprocessing, you can parallelize that effort, and you will get rich dividends. Like, you will get faster the output, and your code will finish fast. Okay, so that is a level where we are going to get involved and write code. And also along with it, we will also be spend time on regular expressions. Regular expressions is a pattern matching practice that we do, especially in scenarios where you call various websites and see how many times a particular data has been used in a particular web page. So you have to use a regular expression concept. Regular expressions is present in Java, Ruby, Python programming, everywhere, and we are going to do on regular expressions as well. Understand what is web scraping using Python libraries, what kind of libraries are available to do a web scraping. What is web scraping? So basically, if you have any website, you don't have to log into the website to get a lot of interesting data, but you can write code that actually calls those websites and extract the pages and reads the data and give you meaningful data. So that is called web scraping. And next would be creating sandbox environments for Python projects. That's a developer's area. If your system have 4 developers who can log in and do work on your code. Suppose you are developer 1 and you have 3 or more developers. You want to work on a particular module which is 3.x version, and the other developers want to work on 2.5. So on the same system, how can you have multiple libraries with different versions? How can you create a sandbox environment? It's a kind of virtual environment where you can keep your own versions for your projects and you can work on it. And how do we install third-party modules? Running Unix commands on local servers and get Python data objects, and also running commands on remote servers and getting the output. Python interaction with AWS and relevant now. So this is an important area where we will do a mini project. How we can interact from a Python code with your AWS infrastructure. Okay, and it can be, and I say AWS infrastructure, it is about AWS cloud, and you can take any services of AWS cloud. You can write your Python code to talk to all those services from your system, and we are going to do a project on it. And at the same time, we will also be looking at how to write Lambda functions in Python programming on your cloud. Okay, that will give you a lot of power to maintain a complex AWS infrastructure components. That is what we will be doing at the end. So this is what it is, and as an add-on, we will also be learning about version controlling, because it's important to learn when you are coding. We have to know about versioning. Okay, and we will be doing a lot deep about also Git. It won't take much time, hardly 2-3 hours, but you will cover all the topics of Git. Maintaining local repositories, remote repositories, branches, merging, rebasing, and also at the same time maintaining security and auditing purpose. Who did what, how that can be accomplished with hooks in your Git environments is what we will study. And this is what we will also be doing, kind of playing around with these services using your Python code and understand what they do, how they interact with each of these services, and we will be using Boto3 library to interact with. Okay, and finally, what kind of projects you can work. We'll give a small, session on how you can take this knowledge and with your future. Okay, how you can. So many people don't know, like they will have problems, but they don't know how to solve that, or they don't even know that Python can come in and solve their problems. So we will have a session on that day, which includes an open discussion on what kind of projects you can do and what things are prerequisites, or how should you take it forward. Okay, so this is what I would be doing, and this needs at least 25 hours of teaching time, and after teaching time you can do practice once the class is over, and you can come back with your questions. So what we'll do is, as part of once a batch is finalized, we'll be creating a WhatsApp group and we will be adding you, and any kind of interactions, questions, challenges, we'll post it there and you will get response. But time it's you who have to take the initiative, guys. Please, I said there is no limitation of prerequisites, but you need a strong analytical mind and you need to have the problem solving abilities to scale upon programming languages like Python. Once you have the skill set, believe me, that stands you as a unique person in the market. People doesn't care if you are an AWS cloud person or something else or something else. If you have a Python programming language, that is going to give you a uniqueness among the crowd, and you will be highlighted, or you will get highlighted in the crowd by the hiring managers, by the hiring companies, and your skills is what going to automate or make things easy for a lot of companies. Okay, so this is about my presentation. Unfortunately, the technical part of presentation could not be accomplished because the problem is simple. I can show you with this screen, which is not a big screen, and it's not going to help us a lot because the code, the kind of data that you're going to see, it's a big screen which needs my 15-inch MacBook space so that you can see it visibly clear. This is because I'm not getting my bridged IP address, using which I have to connect from my terminal to this virtual machine. Okay, so this ENP0S8 interface is not coming with IP address which I wanted. Okay, so that is a challenge. Right, so I will leave now for any questions, and you can have any kind of questions for me and I will answer you. And if you want to raise your hand and have a one-on-one conversation, then I can unmute you, and at the same time you can ask me. You can just, all you have to do is you have to raise your hand, that's all, and I will know who have raised their hands and I will come one by one. Okay, and okay, I have an important, okay. We have, guys, if you have any questions, please post your questions. Okay, could you please include used case of Python in context to DevOps, especially Shobit Jaiswal? Okay, so Shobit, used cases means we would be doing that as a project. So basically, here is the point. I don't know what's your technical background. If I present something out of a used case, I don't know how many people will be able to understand in this webinar. And we honestly need you to come on board and learn all the topics. Then you will understand what we are talking about. Then we can discuss about some used cases. Okay, so this is what it is, and we are not going into a specialization of Python programming. Like there will be some trainings where people expect you that you are already a Python programmer, and then they will teach you, say, machine learning. They don't teach you Python, but they teach you machine learning. But in order to learn that, you need to have a strong background on Python programming. Now, machine learning is a used case, and we can, if I bring such concepts, then you will not be able to understand. But having this training gives you that ability to take the next big step in your career. Okay, there are a lot of use cases. We will go and write Lambda functions. We are going to write code that interacts with Python code. Okay, how many processes can be executed on a single core? So see, at any given point of time on your single CPU core, you can write only, sorry, at any given point of time only one process will run, or one thread will run. Okay, so you can ask me what is a process and what is a thread. A thread forms in the memory space of your processes, and if your process launches multiple threads and all have to run on the same CPU. It can be physical CPU or it can be virtual CPU. They all have to run on the same CPU. Now, when they are running on the same CPU, they cannot run parallelly. It has to be serialized. So one thread runs, it is waiting for an IO to happen, and then the next thread runs because the first thread is waiting for an IO. It is not running. So that concept goes in that way. But when you use multi-processing libraries, then your single Python code can launch 10 processes, and those 10 processes can sit on 5 processors. They can run parallelization. They can do a parallel work. So that is what we're talking about. Devesh, Puppet is a configuration management tool which is not part of this course curriculum. That forms part of your DevOps structure, but you can reach out to Priyanka. We have some presentations or webinars that we have done in the past about Puppet, and she can share you that. Okay. Sandbox, the question is from Inderpal. So Sandbox is nothing but isolated virtual environment. Suppose you have 4 developers on the same system, okay, same operating system. Now when I install a library, it will come with a version number. Now developer wants 2.7 and the other developer wants 3.3. Now it's not really possible to maintain the same library in 2 different versions. Okay, so then you create a virtual environment for each developer and then install those libraries in that virtual environment. So whenever he activates virtual environment, then he can see that version of libraries and he can start writing code for that. Now that is called sandboxing. Will be the projects Python with DevOps also? The projects would be Python, but guys, seriously, in any DevOps role, in serious roles, without Python programming, there is not going to be any DevOps job for you in the market. If you know Python, then people will begin you to interview. Okay, put a resume in the job market for DevOps. The first prerequisite is, do you know Python? Okay, so that is the prerequisite, and remaining they will ask you later. First prerequisite is Python programming, and Python is a big plus for people who wants to enter into DevOps market. That is a big thing that is happening in India now. Lot of positions for DevOps professionals, and I'm not talking about build manager or release manager. Serious jobs on cloud, application DevOps, automation, cloud integrations, cloud migrations, all these things. They are doing very well. Will be the project with Python with DevOps also. Whatever we are going to do projects on Python, that will be giving you an edge in your DevOps role as well. Okay, so that is my question, that is my answer, and we will also be having a project that we do at the end where we will cover the integration parts with AWS, and there we will see about how we can work on various of the AWS services, including writing Lambda functions. Will be there help in interview perspective also, like resume building, interview questions. See, resume building is not what we do, but interview questions we will be doing it from the beginning of our class till the end. We'll be sharing a lot of interview questions. Now you can Google and say Python interview questions. Now you will get a lot of it, but now a quick question: what is the difference between Python 2.7 and Python 3.5? Okay, what are the use cases? Now that you won't get in the Google. Now you can say that some institutes say that we help you to do resume building also. Now seriously, do you want to have a proper resume building from a professional and then go to an interview panel and they can ask questions based on the resume, and if you're not prepared for the content that you should be prepared, what happens then? Okay, but imagine this: we will be helping face interview questions, face any kind of questions that might occur in your interview, and prepare you for it. Okay, now you put whatever you want in your resume. The interviewer is going to ask you the core concepts of Python programming, which you will be prepared for, and think about that. Okay, we are going to teach, the next question is about what version. We are going to teach on 2.7, and also we're going to see the differences with 3.4 or 3.5. So 3.4 is the latest versions. Okay, can we develop hacking script using Python like scanning? Now, this is a good question, but the topic deviates here because from what we are trying to focus. You can look at the hacking part, like, you know, exploiting. So really Python is what people do use in real time, and I don't know how many of you are aware, but we are not going to teach you because that's not what we would like you to become from our class. But that is something which can be done from Python language. There are a lot of books on Python, gray hat hacking, you know, black hacking, Python for spies. Okay, so you can understand about the essence why I'm taking out those names. Really, if you have this background of whatever we teach, then you can explore those books and you can understand what you can do with that knowledge. Okay, will this course be weekend or regular? We are trying to do this for weekends. Weekdays I'm not able to accommodate times, but you can reach out to me or Priyanka or to Sugun IT to understand, to get the batch schedules and also the fee. We have considerably reduced the course fee also. We are not charging that much. Okay, you can reach out to
Let you know
Priyanka.
course fee and timings and batch.
we will-
Batch is only weekend batch, and Saturday, Sunday, 2.5 hours will be there. Saturday 2.5 hours, Sunday 2.5 hours. So I will let you know the timings. Okay, timings and fee.
Yeah. So that is what is about our program, our agenda, and if you have anything to ask, then yeah, please, you can lift your hand. I will unmute you. Okay, Chandrasekhar, I am unmuting you. You have anything to ask? Chandrasekhar? Okay. Ravi? Yes, any questions? If you don't have any questions, please cancel your hand. Okay, so that the right people within. Okay, Sankesh ready? Unmute. Sankesh ready? You have any question?
Yes, sir. Course fee.
Course fee, I will let you know, Sankesh Reddy. I will call to a one-on-one and I will let you know. Okay?
Yeah, so
You know my number
will
also.
be,
I will drop you a message over chat of my number. So if any doubts, please contact to this number. I will be available and I will help you. Okay?
okay. Right.
My
And
phone number is there. Everyone, please take that number.
Vinod RK. Vinod?
Yeah, hi. I mean, right now I don't have any questions.
Okay, fine. Thanks, sir. Tulasi Devi, you have any question? Yeah. The integration with Puppet. Sorry, I'm going to teach you integration with AWS Cloud. Now you can ask me, how does that help? Okay. Now with that knowledge, you can actually, if you're a serious learner, you can actually scale up, understand how your Python code integrates with Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud. That's pretty easy if you follow the concepts well, and if you just understand the essence. Why we teach the basics strong is so that before you get interviewed, even at an integration part, if someone asks you some question at the basic level, and if you get filtered out there, they won't even come to you and ask what's about integration part. Okay, so there's a reason why we put strong efforts on the basics. Now, we're not going to leave you there at the basics. We are going to talk about a lot of real-time modules that I don't know how many, you won't find a book on a Python programming book that uses a Paramiko module or a subprocess module that you can use actually to log into a lot of remote servers and do a lot of stuff. If you understand completely about MyPython programming, you can build a tool equivalent to an Ansible. Yeah, that is possible. Ansible is completely built on Python. Now, why integration part we don't teach is for the same reason, because we don't get audience from the same skill level. Okay, if you have a customized requirement of understanding, say, Python integrates with a lot of these applications. It can integrate with your Puppet code. It can integrate with your AWS infrastructure. It can integrate with your Docker environment. But the question mark is but how much time should we as a trainer should take out and explain you how many audiences we get? Okay, so it all depends on these parts. And if I directly take you through integration parts without giving you strong foundations of basics, at any interview panel, they're going to, before coming to integration part, they're going to test your basics.
Yeah, sorry, but my interest was not to say that, I do not need any basics, but just that that's the way I have been, like whenever I attend an online training, it's mostly the pattern goes like this. Initially, it's all like, it's all terrific in the beginning, and it's all like the basics and constructs and all that. The moment the actual topic comes, it gets diluted. So, so just that's the only reason. Otherwise, okay, I get it. Well, maybe okay, I can talk offline. Thank you.
Hello, sorry for the inconvenience. I think sir has some internet problem. So we are starting weekend batch from tomorrow onwards in the evening 7:30 p.m. and I will mail you the details like timing, state, and fee, everything in the mail. So Tulasi, you told me you told us like first will be the so much of big knowledge of class, afterwards it will dilute, but it will not happen in Suven IT. Okay, no problem with that. And so just wait for 2 minutes. I think sir will come.
Okay, I'm sorry, my network actually flipped. I'm on a remote list. Okay, so yeah, so I was talking to Tulsi. So we actually need a proper audience to talk about those topics also. And again, all of the skill set should match up. As a professional, working professional, it really depends on how many efforts that whatever effort that I'm putting to teach about real-time integrations, I should have the right audience for that. Okay, we can teach that also, but if we have the required number of people who can come up with such who have such prerequisite knowledge. Okay, so it really depends on that.
Okay, is it possible, Naveen, that I can talk online just to figure out what combinations are actually available? Like you said, DevOps is again covered as part of different training, and from here, so it is okay for me to spend time on this, but is there something like you can have a combination, like a combo, like from this and that?
Yeah. So to answer that, we have a DevOps course where we teach Puppet, Docker, Puppet integration with Docker Kubernetes. We teach Jenkins, Maven, and from Jenkins how we integrate with using various plugins, how we integrate with your Docker environment, AWS infrastructure, and a lot of that. So that is again like it's a big stuff. You know what? The amount of time we teach for DevOps, it's really tough for us to balance our timing. So that is where we end up. Okay, so but we teach that as a different program. Okay, this was different because earlier DevOps we were teaching Python plus Puppet, but it was too difficult for us to contain that in a limited time. So that's why we splitted Python programming as a different field and DevOps as a different field. Okay, and in DevOps we teach Puppet, Docker, Docker Kubernetes, and Jenkins with Maven.
Okay, so there is a separate training program for this.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's active, like it's running or it's about to start or something.
Yeah, so it might start in the future, but right now I'm in a phase where I have to spend a lot of time with my work. So weekends is only time where I can accommodate my time for trainings, and that is where I'm like, I can do a DevOps on weekends only, but it's again we have to figure out the proper schedule. Okay, but we have done in the past, and we have completed a batch in February 12th or something like that. The second weekend of February we have finished one batch. So we might begin one more batch in the future, like in the next few days. So there are some things that I'm expecting to happen. Once it's done, I'll get my schedule where I can put my training practice. So its timing is what is the constraint. Okay.
Okay.
But you can reach out to Priyanka and have a discussion about what we teach. We actually do that whatever you are expecting, the real-time integration part. And Python is a lot more than this. Python can be integrated in your DevOps. It is actually, people are using it. You can integrate your Python code in your DevOps structure and a lot of use cases. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, yes, any more questions that you have? Santosh, you have any questions, Santosh?
Yes, sir. I'm having one question about Python. What type of real activities are done using Python? I want to be a good designer. What will yes, sir.
Designer in where? Which front? Web development.
Web development, or I want to learn also AngularJS and Node.js. Is there any combination of Python and AngularJS, Node.js?
No, that is a different. So AngularJS or Node.js you use to develop the front-end web applications.
Yes, sir. In front-end, there is no scope of Python. Actually, I don't know about much Python program.
So the scope is there, but since you are extremely focusing on front-end development, it's easy for you to learn AngularJS or Node.js.
Yes,
because using that code, you can launch beautiful front-end with a web server that will serve. So Python has a different web frameworks where you can do a lot of that stuff, and that is also an interesting area. But if I have to teach that, then it will be too lengthy topics for me, because so we have to cover a lot of things.
Yes. Python, is I am able to learn Python? I know only C and C++. Not very well, but
yeah, you can learn. You can learn.
From where I can start learning?
From where means I'm not getting it.
From where means I really don't know about anything Python. Just
so what is your background? What is your technical background?
My technical background is I am completed my BCS from